Going on, y'all? Welcome to Only Football instant reactions following the Bears' loss against the Los Angeles Chargers. Obviously, we watched the game together. Rick, not too happy about it. Look, I have my own bones to pick about this whole thing. I'm pretty sure you know what some of them are, but let me get your reaction because you're the fan. You're the one that's going through. You know, it angers me because I love football. It angers you because you love the Bears. A little different.
Yeah, I want all you guys to look at the banner there at the bottom. I didn't even capitalize the Bears because they don't deserve capital letters. They don't deserve capital letters for such a horseshit performance they put on Sunday Night fucking Football. The Bears, for the last decade, have gone into primetime games and just look like absolute dog shit. Yes, they won against the Commanders and they looked amazing. This game, however, the coaches did zero game planning. Eberflus looked like a fucking coward in the sidelines the entire game, especially there at the end. Me and Kyle were talking about it. How are you not going to try to call timeouts there to force the ball back into your hands with over a minute left to, like what Kyle said, get a couple of feel-good points about your offense? Try to get Tyson Bagent, who is a rookie, a fucking Division II rookie who's starting at a Sunday Night Football game, to get him to feel good about being in the NFL and to feel like he belongs. Exactly. Who knows how much longer Justin Fields is going to be out if they want to keep him out for a third week because of a dislocated thumb on your throwing hand. The offense looked pitiful from beginning to end. The best play was a 41-yard pass to Mooney, and guess how many times they went to him after that? 3 more times the entire game. The only reception he had was that 41-yard on the first play of the game. And they went back to him 3 times and 0 receptions. 1 reception all night. Fucking DJ Moore had 4 or 6 receptions, whatever it was, for 50+ yards. Nothing else. Did they try him in the end zone? No. Like did they try to get him more involved? No. Against the worst secondary in the NFL, it seems like no. What do they do instead? They try to run the ball from a shotgun position and try to get first downs. The defense couldn't tackle anybody because they're trying to get turnovers. They're trying to slap the ball away. No, that's not fundamental fucking football. And that's Eberflus's defense because he's a defensive-minded head coach. He brought in a senior analyst for defense, but he still runs the defense. And yet somehow he can't get his guys to do the simple shit in a game. The defense let Eckler and Herbert and Johnston and Keenan Allen and fucking no-name tight ends score and get yards at will. The Chargers did not stop. And this is what we need. What we've talked about the Chargers needing to do, and they did it tonight. They put the pedal to the metal. They didn't stop. They didn't play scared dog shit football. They said this Bears team is so bad that we're only going to score 6 points in the second half. That's
Wow.
how bad they were.
I didn't
That's
even
how
think
bad
about
they
it
were.
like that.
And that's because they put the pedal to the metal at the beginning of the fucking game. They scored 24 points in the first half. They scored 6 in the third quarter, didn't score all fourth quarter because they said, you know what? We're going to win this game no matter how good their offense is going to be the rest of the second half. They scored 6 points in the second half and said, yeah, we're good, because they were able to score 30 by the end of that third quarter. This defense was bad. The offense was bad. The fact that Eberflus wouldn't put more pressure on Herbert and just left him there all day to pass the ball is just bad coaching. The game planning wasn't there. The attack wasn't there. Let's throw it to Darrington Evans, who's lined up outside on a 4th and 1, who's a running back, instead of our sure-handed wide receiver 1 and DJ Moore for a first down to try to get a score. What do? You throw it to a fucking running back who's out wide. No, you have a big targeting Kmet that we talked about. You have a sure-handed receiver in DJ Moore who makes shit happen after the catch. And you decide to go with Darrington Evans, who is a practice squad player that you picked up a few weeks ago from the Miami Dolphins. He's done well. This is not a shot at Evans at all. This is a shot at the play calling by Getsy and the lack of blitzing on the defense by Eberflus. This was a bad coached game. Tyson Bagent rushed for a touchdown. That was the best outcome for him in this game. He had 2 interceptions. One wasn't his fault. The other one, okay, bad throw. Again, D2 quarterback who's trying to feel good about himself in an NFL game, starting a Sunday night football game, and you don't have you're so much of a coward to not call a timeout in the end of the game to try to get the offense going again. You want it to feel good going into a possible third start. Instead, you go from a good start against the Raiders to this dog shit start into just playing pussy fucking football. It was so tough to see. And then Eberflus, after coming back from the second half, is just like, yeah, my guys aren't doing the fundamentals right, blah, blah, blah. And you like that. I get that you like that. But dude, what are you doing? What are you doing where are you saying anything to these guys at all on the sidelines? As a head coach, you're not saying shit to these guys during the first quarter, during the second quarter. Instead, you fucking go to the halftime report and say, my guys aren't doing it. But you're the head coach and you're the defensive guy who is supposed to teach these fundamentals.
Yeah.
These are grown men. I get that, but you got to fucking reinforce this shit. And instead, you just throw them under the bus during the halftime sideline reporter. This was a bad coached game. Eberflus on this game alone and on this effort alone deserves to be fucking fired 100%. Getsy, whatever. He's shown that he could call a good game, but my God, dude, this was bad. This was so bad. So that was my rant on the Bears, man. That was just dog shit football on Sunday Night Football. And again, I apologize to everybody who had to watch that. Anybody who's in the comments, anybody who watches our stream, anybody who watched Sunday Night Football in general, I'm so sorry for that. That was dog shit. Credit to the Chargers.
It's good to keep in mind if our viewers are more down, and it might not be us. It might be the game. NBC might have their numbers go down. It doesn't mean that they don't like Chris Collinsworth. It's mean that they don't necessarily love the game. So that's an angle I never really thought of it because I normally, as a channel or YouTuber, whatever you want to call it, you always associate your numbers with you. In this case, it could have been associated with Bears if there were, lacking numbers. And I understand if there is, because this game didn't really feel like it was going to be a close battle. It just they pulled away early. There were some things that needed to happen that never really did. From an outsider looking in, I thought Bagent did about as good as you can expect a guy to do in that situation. Don't like the play calling. The third down, the running the football with 9 minutes left in a 3-possession game. The fact that there was no sense of urgency, even when they were down there running the football on the 2-yard line, you still had offensive linemen just standing in the end zone, looking around. Like, how are you guys not already like reset? Like, we have to do this 2 more times and we're running out of time. Like, it just shows you though that the mentality in order to stand there and not feel that pressure is because you don't you maybe you knew that your coach was going to fold. Maybe you knew who he already did. So it's like, who cares? Like, I'm not going to care if these guys don't care. I mean, to me, that shows that you don't care. I cannot ever imagine a scenario where I would be watching a Broncos game and I would see my team run the clock out on themselves to spare them something. Fucking humble yourself up, take your ego and throw it to the side. You know who else does this shit? Bill Belichick. Fuck that.
Yeah.
If you go out onto the field, we're going to play hard for 60 minutes. When Denver was down 70 points against Miami, Russell Wilson did not come out of the game. The offense finished because it was like, hey, it might not be something that we're going to fix today, but it's something we can build on going into the next weeks. And there's truth to that. Like, that sends a very strong message to a locker room when your own coach doesn't burn your timeouts, when your own coach doesn't give a shit if you guys make it, you know, a 2-possession game at the end. Like, that stuff matters. Pride points are called pride points for a reason. It makes it, I mean, that's a pretty far plane ride home, Chicago to LA, probably about 6 hours, five hours. And, you know, it feels a lot better if you know, you're on Twitter and you see the stuff, because they all look at it, man, and they know what's up. And 20 to 30 just feels so much better, especially if towards the end of the game you had something going, and let's say DJ Moore had a really cool touchdown at the end. It's like, we didn't win the game, but here's something to feel good about moving forward. Here's something we can build off of. Instead, your coach runs the clock out on your own fucking team, which I can't tell you, like, there's nothing that bothers me more than that, because that just shows an absurd amount of weakness, that you would rather put yourself out of your misery. Like, fucking man up. Your team is in this situation because of you and your coaching. You're either coaching it or allowing it. And regardless, it looks like you're allowing it. So you owe that to Chicago. You owe that to the fan base. You owe those timeouts to your quarterback and to DJ Moore and those guys that you're letting down. And I didn't want anyone to get hurt. There's a lot of things that he could probably say to justify it. I doubt anyone will even ask, which kills me even more. But that is totally unacceptable. Like, you're a 2-4 football team, now 2-5,
2-6 now.
Now 2-6, and you're just gonna let it go down like that. Unbelievable. And for the Chargers, this was a bounce back game. I mean, they lost to the Cowboys, they lost to the Chiefs. We knew that the Chargers were better than their record. The Chargers and Bears entered this game with the same record, not even close to the same team. But the Chargers have so many flaws and so many problems, so much talent they don't know how to utilize. And the fact that they looked good tonight scares me about the Bears, because that's like, you know, when a bad team, or not a bad team, but a team that's trying to figure it out is making them look like a complete team. Like, maybe this was just a really good complete football win for the Chargers. But man, this has got to be infuriating for the Bears fans. And luckily their schedule's a little easy-ish. I think they got the Saints and Vikings coming up.
They got the Saints and the Panthers coming up.
So yeah, DJ Moore revenge game. I mean,
he might want to go back. He might want to go back.
They got their first win today.
They did.
No, I think it's something that the Chargers can build off of. It was definitely a get well game. But yeah, I mean, it's just rough if you're a Bears fan, and if you're a Chargers fan, you know, you don't want to read into it too much. Just one win. But they're one game out of 500.
Absolute cowardice from Eberflus. Absolute fucking cowardice from Eberflus, man. I can't see. The ownership for the Bears never fires coaches midway through a season. I just can't believe it. Like I hated Nagy. I hated his play calling and his coaching. But even he wouldn't do this. I can't remember a time where he would do something like this. Just runs the clock out, doesn't. I honestly do not believe the Bears used the timeout this entire game. I really do not believe that. And they definitely didn't use it in the second half. I can't remember what it was in the first half. But fuck, man, you're a head coach and you have the fucking audacity to not use your timeouts?
Yeah, like
wow.
Like if Bill Belichick does it, it's like, I'm Bill Belichick. I'm allowed to do that. It's like, what have you earned?
What have you he's earned 5 fucking wins in a season and a half. That's just absolute like I don't know what to call it. Like that's just like pretentious. Is that pretentious to not use your timeouts in a game?
That's what I meant when I was like, put your ego aside. You don't this isn't about you. You know what I mean? Like whatever it was that told you that it would be a good idea to just roll over and wave the white flag, you need to get that shit out of your system. That shit is toxic. You're trying to run an organization. You need to be the one person that when your team is giving up, they look to you and you're still into the game. You're still fired up about penalties. You're still, screaming and sweating. We talk a lot about when a team is up, let's say they're up 25 points and then there's a penalty that goes a certain way. And you see that coach that's up really mad and the announcers come on and they're like, and look, this guy's still fired up, even though they got a big lead. He's still, treating their team like it's a close game. Yeah. Well, that works on the other side too. If you're losing the game, you still have to be that rock. I'm the one I hate. I've never seen it before from a coach like Eberflus. I've seen it from like Bill Belichick or Nick Saban. These guys with big egos that they can surrender a win because they're going down in legacy Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
But to see someone like Eberflus do it, I wonder what the accountability looks like from the general manager. I wonder what the accountability looks like from the ownership. I wonder what that kind of stuff looks like, because I know most coaches in his shoes would be like, even if I feel this way, I would never fucking do it because I need to keep my job. I need to show these people that I care about my craft. Like I
care about anything.
Yeah, exactly. So it just makes me think like, is he safe somehow?
No.
In some weird way? Is he safe? And I'll ask you, is it time to start thinking about coaching staff changes and all that stuff?
Yes. And you want to know, I was looking on Twitter just now. So if it looked like I was distracted, I was listening. I was just looking because I wanted to see. Not only did the Bears not use a single timeout, if I asked you to guess how many times DJ Moore was targeted in the second half, what would you say?
2.
One fucking time in the second half.
Gotta be kidding me, dude.
Now, your question was, do you start looking at more like coaches? Is he safe? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I just don't know what the Bears are supposed to do. Are you supposed to pivot? Because normally when you're pivoting, it's about the quarterback or the coach. And you have Justin Fields, who hasn't really played this season. But last time we saw him the last couple of weeks, he was really good. So it's like, okay, so he kind of feels safe right now. So do we pivot to like, oh, let's try to win some football games? Or is this like, we got to change the coach? Like, I just don't even know what do you even do with the Bears right now?
I don't know, man.
Like, you're in charge. What do you do? Your first day of work tomorrow?
I fire Eberflus. I don't know who the fuck I'm going to promote. Getsy? Do I promote Getsy? That's the only coordinator that makes sense. That's the only coordinator left. Alan Williams left from some weird fucking reasons earlier this year. And even at that point, like, who do you bring up? Yes. Who do you bring up? Getsy? Do you have a coordinator to bring up? Maybe we don't fire Eberflus. Maybe we let him go, right? Let him go the rest of the season. But holy shit, man, is it just like one of those, like how you're saying, I'm confused. What do we do? I don't know what we do. I don't know what the Bears need to do. It's so easy to say fire this guy, but it's like we have positions to fill. We need to fill the head coaching job. Then we need to fill the offensive coordinator job. Then blah, 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 as they go down. But I just don't know. And at this point, with the way the Bears season is going, fuck it. Keep Eberflus, man. He'll get us a really good pick. He'll probably get us the top 3 pick.
And that's the question is like, who are you going to hire? Jeff Saturday? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's easy to be like, oh, let's turn it upside down. But it's like, when are we going to settle in and be like, you know what, the problem that, you know, maybe it's not that the solution is somewhere else. Maybe it needs to be one of those things where like the solution is us and we have to start providing them. Because, you know, when you're a losing organization, the solution is always somewhere else. It's always this. If we get this guy, if we get this guy, if we have a better quarterback, better head coach, better quarterback, better head coach. Well, I'm in a unique scenario where we hired Sean Payton, and it's like, no, when you're losing like that, you just have to, because you don't have a question. You're like, no, we have to make this work. Like, there's no other Sean Payton that we're going to go get.
Yeah. And
the Bears need to feel that way about their head coach, but their head coach, he didn't display that today.
No.
Like, it's not even like you guys can be like, no, we're going to ride with this guy and he's going to figure it out. You know what I mean? Like he abandoned the trust of the Chicago people today. And that's what really bothers me is like, you are like 32 out of 32 in position to do that to that fan base. You know what I mean? Your team puts up a shitty effort. The least you could do is be like, Eberflus gave a fuck. You know what I mean? That's like the bare minimum is like, at least when I lost by 70, as Steve brought it up casually in the comments, at least I never thought like Sean Payton didn't care. You know what I mean? I know he cared. I do. And it doesn't make it better, but it does in comparison to what I saw tonight. So
that was, yeah. And like you said, you're 32. You're one of 32. It's difficult to get a head coaching job. How many people want to be a head coach in the NFL? Right? Like very few people get their shot. Very few. When you look at this, it's like,
yeah, it's like a lottery ticket.
Yeah. It's like how many people play in the NFL in the entirety of the world? 1% less than that, probably 1% of, or what is it? 1% of college athletes will go on to play professional sports. And these motherfuckers don't take that for granted, it seems like. But you, who is one of 32 in the NFL in the entire world, will not take a timeout. You will not fucking put up a good offense. Don't call a good game at the end of it when you're losing big. And look, I'm not asking you to fucking celebrate down 30 like, you know, Lamar Houston did when he tore his fucking ACL. I'm not asking for that. I'm asking for effort.
Yeah, not arrogance.
Minimum is fucking effort, and you fail to do that. Is that not fireable? Yes, it is. But again, what do we do after that? The Bears would be the worst organization and probably our top 3 worst organizations run in the NFL right now. And there's no answers. I just don't know where we would go from here. The only thing I can think of is
3?
What's that?
I was like, who are the other 3? Because the Texans got their coach and their quarterback figured out, which is a huge step.
Yeah, probably the Panthers. I would make an argument for the Panthers.
The Panthers, yeah, they do, but they had Cam Newton not too long ago, and they were at a Super Bowl and stuff like that. When you look at the Bears, it's like
it's like where's anything?
Yeah, why a team with as much historical, you know,
significance?
Pride? Yeah, like your Brian Urlachers, and I mean, what the fuck happened? How did we get here? And how much longer do we have to keep having this conversation before something changes? And it's like, it just feels like it's how I've been feeling about my team, man. And it's a bad day to relate because we beat the Chiefs, but it's like you kind of wonder, like, is there like internal like not curse, but like why can't we have nice things? Kind of feeling.
It's like one of those things where I don't even know what kind of things I would even relate this to. Like we as an organization, as an ownership, right? The McCaskies and whatever, they just make bad decision after bad decision. And again, I credit Tom Grossi because he really went in deep with this a few weeks ago. And I talked about it on one of our episodes, I believe, that he was like going deep. I was like, what are these hires? What are these coaches? What are these quarterback decisions? And he went pretty deep and he went pretty in depth. So credit to him. And if I can't. I wish I could relay that information, but I kind of forgot most of it already because I'm so angry. So go watch it for Tom Grossi. Shout out to Tom Grossi for that, and also for all you guys in the subs and the chat and everything. The Bears are the you know what? I will say it, and you're right. Who are the other three? The Bears are the worst organization in the NFL right now. They're the worst run, from management all the way down to head coach. Players, the effort on the players, on some of the defensive players was pretty like, what the fuck, dude? Like, right? But
the second half was
regardless.
different.
Yeah, regardless of that, I don't know what it is to be really an athlete at any level, and especially at a fucking NFL level. It's just the decisions made. The people who are in those positions to make those decisions have no fucking clue what they're doing. Ryan Poles, I will give him another year, I think, to make the right decisions because he's made some good draft picks. He's made some good trades and some bad ones. But the president CEO right now of the Bears, who just came over from the Big Ten, probably going to be good. Like, this is his first full season. So I'm going to give those two guys a chance. Eberflus and his entire coaching staff needs to be done. Yes, again, D2 quarterback. You got weapons, though. It's like, no game planning was involved in this fucking Sunday Night Football. So that's kind of all I got on the Bears, man. They're a sad organization. The football from here on out is going to be very not exciting unless Justin Fields somehow pulls a miracle with this offense and DJ Moore. Like, that's really the connection that we're looking forward to as Bears fans. I just have no answers for what to do from here on out. And the Bears are just not going to be good for, I would say, probably 3 years.
Yeah, and when Justin Fields gets back, you know what I mean? It's a totally different ball game. And really, in hindsight, this may seem like an overreaction, but there was just a lot of reasons why Eberflus shouldn't have ended the game the way he did. But he'll always have, the Justin Fields didn't play to fall back on. Like, I went with this Division II guy. At the end of the day, you can only control what you can control. And that is true in everything in life. And it's like, you can't control that Justin Fields wasn't your quarterback, but you can control how you stood by his side in the final 2 minutes of the game. And you let everybody down. I do think like this is a bad game, to talk about the Bears dysfunction just because you didn't have your Justin Fields. Like, if Justin Fields was in this game and it looked very similar, we could have like this conversation, but we're angry and there's a lot of emotion post game. So I would say just try to keep that in mind. Like, Justin Fields is a franchise quarterback. He is, he has the potential to be a top 5 quarterback in the league, I think. And you don't have him right now. And it was an ugly win. I think you got your quarterback. I don't know about your coach. I don't think you have your coach at all.
No, we don't.
But it's a top 5 quarterback changes everything with or without a bad or good coach. You know what I mean? When you have look what Herbert's doing for Staley. That guy has no business being a head coach at this point.
No business. Yeah.
And still he gets to keep his job because Herbert's at a top 5 level. If they didn't have Herbert figured out, Staley would have had 2 different coaches in that time span. So I would just, give it some time for Fields to make it back and then reevaluate.
Yeah. And I think that's what we just have to end up doing. So, again, we don't know when Fields is going to be back. He did have a dislocated thumb. That's his second game tonight, was the second game that he missed. So who knows about next week? Either way, dog shit football is going to be played in the future by the Bears. And hopefully Justin Fields does turn out to be a good quarterback and maybe we get a good coach. And that is all I've got to say about that. Kyle, do you have anything before we get out of here?
That's all I got, man. Thanks, guys, for watching again, and look forward to our next stream in 24 hours, less than 24 hours.
Yeah, cannot stress enough about you guys being in the chat with me while I was just being miserable. And thank you again, Chen in the chat, and I couldn't get to a lot of the comments. So I apologize, but I appreciate you guys being here, and Steve for always making funny jokes, even if it's at our expense. But all right, Kyle, I will see you tomorrow, brother.
All right, brother. See you.
See ya.